then, we're going to change gears again, a slightly different subject. I've asked some of our friends within our working groups to come along and tell you, our audience, a little bit about some of the developments that we've been working on. So I think first up we've got you, Ian, who's going to come and talk about what we think is absolutely essential. In fact, all of these are really essential, but the assurance framework is the longest piece and most successful download we've had. So Ian, could you come and tell the audience about what's going on with the assurance framework, please, sir?
This is going to be like speed dating for work groups, isn't it? But let's go. 10, wow, okay. Have I ever done anything on time? There's a question. Okay, so I'm listening to what's going on this morning, and there's so many things resonating with what I do for a daily and what I tell people and what we try to do in the working group. So let's try and cover a bit of that, if we can. Oh, I'm still on Ken's. Where we are? No, back. Next one. Next. There we go. Right. Little update on the working groups. And so this has been probably the longer running one. It's the sort of key piece of what we do. I'm quite privileged to be looking after it. And so for those who don't know, ultimately it's a very small slide, as was noted, I have to say. It's actually about 2 inches square. Okay. It's the primary bit of knowledge that we try to put out. It's been developed over, I'm going to say, either 8+ years, because I couldn't actually remember the date. It's about 8 to 10 years. So it's kind of the formation of what's been done. It's a huge piece of information. It's helped form lots of other bits that have been done in industry and across regulation. And the aim is to provide good, usable information. And it's generally been created by people who are practitioners, which is the nice bit. It's not standards people writing it. It's practitioners, people looking at the challenges they've had when they create products. Okay, so that's what it puts together. We try and help it to keep regulatory alignment, which is what we've been practicing on the last year, I guess. Other things we've been looking at is how to map it to standards. Because it's agnostic, it's not looking at you have to meet this global regulation or this particular geo-regulation. The intention and what we're trying to do with it is follow good practice, do the right thing, follow what it does, and out of that, you can map it to what you need to do to meet a regulatory requirement. Okay? Might not do it perfectly, because there's always going to be bits and pieces missing, but the point is if you keep raising the bar, you'll get there, and that's the nice bit. But ultimately, yes, if you don't know where to start, it's a good place. So, the group itself, I'm going to call it the merry band of brothers, if you like, something to that effect. There's a core of us that turn up regularly, add information, help out, come up with some great knowledge. It's a lot of the history of what's happened. These are the good bits, so we go, why is this so? How did we root this one? And we'll get the history of why it came to be. The bonus is that recently we've had a few new members join who are questioning that, which is good, because we need that new questioning, we need that new thought. So please do come and join us. We do have some fairly lively debate. I like to see the secure boot one that came up on the earlier presentation. That's a current lively debate. And it's going to be even livelier because we've got to finish that one. That might become a SIG in itself, I think, John. But very, very important. So yeah, new members to the group, always welcome. Couple of key milestones that we've done then. So last year, obviously, we did announce the webization, if you like, or the digitalization of what has been the document over a period of time. We're trying to drag it into the new world. We've been doing a bit more work on that this year. So part of that is when we go back and look at what's in the framework itself, is it fit for purpose? Does it achieve what it needs to achieve? We got some great work from one of our historical authors of the document who went back and re-looked at things. I think we've been through pretty much every requirement, reviewed it, looked at it. In many cases, we've updated, I think, nominally 50% of them. Okay. Now, having done that, there's been some very long, interesting discussions, and it does take a long time. So it's taken 6 or 9 months to get that achieved. Okay, because we only get a couple of hours every few weeks or an hour every few weeks to look at this. And when you're debating and looking at the nuances of why something should be so and what's behind it and how will that affect something, it can take time. But the point is to give that information to people so that they don't just get a requirement, they get a, what do I do about it? Some guidance to actually achieve it. Okay. Now we need to do more of that, and we need to write more papers for that, and that's part of the next year's work. We did do an update for that. That's been recently released. We'll talk about that next. But again, feedback is the key thing. So if you're reading it, you're looking at it, and you don't agree with something, or something doesn't make sense, feed it back. Come and join us and explain, and we'll try and look at that. And if it needs more guidance, if it needs more clarification, or it doesn't make sense, brilliant. That's what we need to know. Because we're looking at it from our perspective. And everybody's got a given bias and perspective on how they look at this. So we're trying to kind of make it relevant for everybody. All right, so what's the key thing we did? We did have the pleasure a few weeks ago, John, Richard, Florian and I, we were invited over to a thing called the Things Conference. I have the dubious notion of actually did the very first Things Conference because I was involved with the Things Network when they founded and formed in Laura. So I have a long history with them. But we actually got invited to go over and start talking about compliance and helping people actually develop products. We had a pretty good response in that meeting, okay? 50 plus, I think, meeting in each of the sessions we did. It was, actually very good to see that people were interested in the subject. What was worrying is that people are still at a very low base of understanding why security is needed in a product, and still not at the acceptance point that it's needed. And for people making radio products, that's quite scary. Okay, it bothers me immensely, which is kind of why I do these things. So that's an interesting point, but it's starting to get the word. People are accepting and seeing it for what it is as a piece of information and a good body of work. Now, what we did do to make sure it happened in time, and I was absolutely set on this because I wanted to write slides that were actually on the new updates. So we did push out just before this, with thanks to Nick, who's sat around. Nick's over there with his team to run the website for us. We pushed out version 4 of the update, and we try and run this such that it is all the previous versions are there because people have got documents on previous versions, and so having the new update means you can then go and track and trace through, and you can look at changes and do all of that by pulling the information down off the website. The crucial part of this is now digital only. We do not make a PDF anymore, okay, because it's a lot of work to do that, and we're trying to automate it so we can concentrate on putting good information in. So the version 4 of the framework is now released. It has a new pretty cover. Because we asked for that also, which is good. If you want a PDF, we still do it, okay? It's automated. You have to go onto the web and ask for it, and it will generate you basically a PDF version of the website. I will warn you, it is not beautifully formatted, and it is not written by a marketing department. It is written by an automation, but it works if you like a PDF. Or use the website, okay? If you don't like how the website works, then again, feed that back. Right? There's all those things that are there. We are there to be talked to and asked and given things to do. Right, brilliant. The questionnaire itself, which is the backbone of what happens. So the questionnaire is the requirements we give away for free, what's behind them, and some of the guidance you have to get to the questionnaire for. The questionnaire is members only. So at least there's some level of engaging with the organisation, which is the good bit. So the questionnaire is still in the form of a spreadsheet, sorry, and it's still got all the extra information to allow you to do that assessment and logging and tracking of what you do. Okay. Long-term goal, yes, would be to get this into a digital format, but for that we need engineering time. We need some good software engineers who are either willing or cheap, I guess, is what we need to look at on that one, based on constraints. That's the update of where we got. As I said, it's speed dating for working groups. So there you go. But do join us. Thank you.